Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. It was done using Loren Sherman's fan-made Gallifreyan script, which uses a combination of dots and lines on these 4 different stems to make our consonants. And the vowels are these smaller circles, and they're kind of tricky because they can be either by themselves or enclosed on one of the 4 consonant stems. So it makes the most sense in practice. I'm going to go ahead and hop to the design. So the base reading order of this script is bottom counterclockwise. And this one is set up so bottom is here, and then, you just read up, because if you start here at the bottom counterclockwise most thing, this would be the next logical path. So anyway, this is the phrase order. And then we have our words, which are individually read bottom counterclockwise as well. So let's go ahead and look at our first word here. So this thick line here is our word circle. And on it we have our bottommost letter, and it's a smaller circle, so we know it's a vowel, so it's one of these 4, and it's on the line of the word circle, so it's one of these 3, and it's got a line going towards the middle. So this line, if it were anywhere going towards the middle as opposed to the outside, would make it an I. So this is an I. Continuing around, here's our next stem. And on it, there's this thick curved line. Now, lines, they can curve, it's fine. They can be straight, it's fine. As long as, they end on the stem, they count. So this one that passes through it does not count. But these 1, 2, 3 lines that end on it do count. So this stem is 50% or less completed. So it's in this row with 3 lines, this column. So that's an S. Continuing around. Here is another little circle. Relative to the stems and the such in this circle. It's kind of big, but that's okay for A's because there's nothing else that's actually outside the word circle. So again, word circle line, A's are the only things outside of it. All these stems are either on the line or inside. So A's you can kind of make a little bit bigger because there couldn't be anything else except for, well, punctuation, except they're on punctuation lines, which that only happens here. I'll get to that when I get to that. Anyway, so this is an A, and we can tell it belongs to this word because it's a little bit closer to this word circle than to this word circle. So anyway, so that's an A. Here we have our next stem. It's more than 50% completed, so it's a deep divot. So it's this, and there's nothing on it. No lines or dots. That open circle is a vowel, so that's just a B. And then we have that little circle, the vowel, and it's enclosed on this stem, and right in the middle of it. So there's no lines on it, so it's not an I or a U, so that's an E. So B-E, just like that, B-E, so B-E. And now we have a double line, and a double line means it's a double letter. And since these 2 lines are the same thickness, it's the same letter. So if we look on this line passes through, this line passes through, but these 3 dots are part of it because they're closest to this stem than any other stem. So those 3 dots on a circle inside our circle is an L, and it's a double letter, so that's a double letter, double L. So LL, and then continuing a little bit more, here's our last letter. Again, like I said, A's, they can be a bit bigger than your typical vowel just because they're the only thing that can be outside. So that's another A. So I-S-A-B-E-L-L-A is our first word. Continuing around, here's our next word, this thing here. And this will give us a clue as to what this thing is, because here's the bottom of our word circle, and here is the first thing you hit counterclockwise. Yeah, even though this does... So this one is kind of hard to tell the word order because of this little jazz being also pretty low as well. But this one's lower, and even though this does cross the middle, which might make it be read first, if your brain weird, this one's actually after it, and it's not to the bottom, which to me makes it more obvious that this one is read first. But anyway, context rules all. So bottom's here going counterclockwise. Here's our first stem, and on it, that line passes through, so it doesn't count. This one ends on it. So that is an N with 1 line with an I here. So N-I, continuing around. Here's our next stem. It's got 2 dots on a deep divot, so that's a CH. And then we have a little circle all by itself. So that's an O. Continuing around. Here's where that L is 1, 2, 3 dots. So L, just like this L. And then we have an E after it, so because this is where the L is and then the E is after it, on the line of the word circle, just like that I, except without the line. So N-I-C-H-O-L-E. So this line here is actually just the line from the I and the line from the N. But this thing here, I just kind of threw on because this felt kind of lonely and by itself, so I want a little bit of shading. So this doesn't connect to any sentence circles, any word circles, so it doesn't change or modify anything. That's just a decoration. Anyway, here's our next word. And around it, there's a double line, which is a sentence circle, which is where you'd put punctuation around our word circle. So here's our first letter of this word, pretty unambiguously the first letter. And it's a big ol' omega stem with 3 dots. These 3 dots, 1, 2, 3, because this line passes through, doesn't count. So that's a D. And then we have this thing. So even though it's bigger than our typical vowel, it's still small compared to this one, and it's attached to it. And only vowels can attach to stuff. So it's a circle, kind of like a bead on a string, on that omega stem, just like this. So there's an O hanging out on this D. So D, O, continuing around, here's a B, just that stem all by itself. Continuing around, here is 1, 2, 3 lines, ending on this stem. So that's an S, just like this. Then we have another little O, just like that little O, and then we have an N, 1 line ending on it. So, yeah. And then we have our punctuation. So this is a triple line on our sentence circle, and a triple line is a hyphen, and it connects the hyphen to this word. So, yeah. Here's our last word circle here. So Dobson, hyphen, and then our last word, bottom of it. R, 1, 2, 3 dots on a shallow divot. R, continuing around. Here we have an A. And even though we have a consonant here, so this one, the vowel's always read after the consonant if it's attached, but this A is a little bit before this consonant. This line shows right where the A would have to be if it were attached, but this one also has an I attached to it anyway, so it couldn't be. Anyway, this is the A. Here is the M. 1, 2, 3 lines on a circle inside the circle, so inside the circle, 3 lines M. Then we have an I, 1 line coming from the middle of that, so like here's the consonant stem with the I, so like that. So M, I, continuing around, R, just like this R, 1, 2, 3 dots on a shallow divot. Then we have an E right on the line of the word circle, and then we have a circle on the line of the word circle, so it's this stem with 1, 2, 3 dots. So that is a Z. Woo! So that's this design. The biggest ambiguous thing is this name here and what letter starts with, what letter this name starts with, because this kind of here, it's lower than this stem, which is more middle than this stem, but bottom counterclockwise, this is the one you hit first. So yeah, and I wanted to make this circle go around this, and I wanted these 3 dots to line up with these 3 dots, and that was the only way I could do that. Anyway, so that's the explanation of how to read this set of names, or single name, first, middle, last. Not sure. Anyway,